Dennis, call the order, please.
May, Kanema, Linda, and myself are here. Caulfield, Dan here. Do we have anybody out online?
Lisa is not online. If she does appear, I'll make sure to
Okay.
speak
Elyville,
it for
is
the record.
Carla out there? Elyville?
Carla and Dee Dee both expressed that they would not be able to attend today's meeting.
Okay. Gaffney Lane, Betty,
Here.
and Dwayne?
Present.
Yes. Good. Hazel Grove, we have Nick in the audience. Chris, excuse me. We need you up here. Okay, Hillendale, Sarah?
Here.
Wow, what an entrance.
Hi, Sarah.
Josh?
Here.
Okay, McLaughlin, Denise,
I'm here.
and Tim?
Here, I can't beat yours. So, yeah, here.
Okay.
Just stand up and shout.
Park Place, I know Nick is on leave or absent, and Bob?
Bob is an excused absence
And excused.
as well.
Okay. Then we have Rivercrest, Tower Vista, and Two Rivers without representation.
Katie.
Unless, excuse me, your name?
Katie?
Katie, from?
Two Rivers.
Two Rivers.
Two Rivers.
Is it Two Rivers? And what is your last name, Katie?
Roth, ROTG.
Okay.
Would you push your button there on the,
Yeah.
there you go. Got it. It should turn red.
And Katie, you're the chair of Two Rivers Neighborhood Association, correct? Yeah.
Welcome. Okay.
All right, our first presentation tonight is the Oregon City Police Department, the cleanup, response, and procedures. If you'd like to come forward, great interest.
Yeah, perfect. Thank
We're getting more and more neighbors that we don't like, so please.
Apologize for not having more comfortable chairs.
Put my gear here.
Yeah, do you just want me to proceed?
Just you proceed, and then we'll try and hold our questions until you're done, and then we will ask questions. Does that work with you?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so go ahead, we won't interrupt you.
So I'm Captain David Edwins.
Okay.
I'm the operations captain with the Oregon City Police Department. I've been with the department for about 21, 22 years now. That's my current assignment. We are invited to speak tonight. I think, Linda, you reached out. Nice meeting you in person to speak about OCPD's homelessness response from a patrol perspective. So that's what I'm going to kind of cover, and I think it's kind of important. Do you want me to go into my presentation, or?
Yes.
Perfect. And I have Sergeant Turpin with me here. He's a patrol sergeant. If he has to run out of here real quick, it's because he's got a radio on, and so he's actually working right now. I think it'd be good to give some context. In 2017, the police department created the homeless liaison position with the city. We had Mike Day before, and then we had Officer Dan Haynes. I think you may have seen him out in the community. About 2 years ago, with post-COVID, our department had a bunch of retirements. Staffing was quite problematic. We were down a lot of officers. We had to pull Officer Haynes about 2 years ago back to patrol to cover spots. So for the last 2 years, we haven't had a homeless liaison officer. So we've had to really adapt to the situation. As you all know, homelessness problem hasn't gotten any better really in the city. You see it, we see it. I live in the city. So it's very important to me to keep the livability and the standards at a good level. So as a captain, I'm like, okay, well, without a homeless liaison officer, how are we going to address this problem? So what we've done is, like, I've had officers, if they see a camp, they'll forward me the information about it. I'll compile a list of them, and then I'll have Sergeant Turpin, maybe another officer go post camps. So we have to post camps, essentially. You can't just go on public property. So, for example, let's talk about Highway 213 in Beaver Creek. That problem has gotten actually quite a bit better. But back in the day, so what would happen is people would camp there it's a public property, like Oregon City owns it. You have to give them at least 72 hours notice to vacate, give them time to get their property and go there. So what happens is we go there, Sergeant Turpin will go there, we'll post the camp, give them 72 hours, and then we're left with the mess of cleanup. We pair with CNR Reforestation, a gentleman named Robin, he does that. He has a crew. When we post those camps, he'll come out and clean them. Some other things that we've worked on is, it's important to communicate with our partners in the city. Obviously, we have Father's Heart in the city. There's lots of resources here, which draws in the homelessness problem to Oregon City. So what we've done in the past is we have a homeless coordination meeting. We bring the district attorney, has a representative there, Bill Stewart. We meet with Father's Heart, Love One, whole bunch of different partners. We have a homeless coordination meeting, which occurs about every 2 months, basically so we're trying to fix the problem. We can go there, parole and probation's there. If we're experiencing some of the same people and the same issues, we can bring those together, have a bunch of people in the same room and can try to tackle those problems. So we do that. Other ways that these problems get brought to my attention are like citizen complaints. We have, I think it's called My OC. Citizens can file complaints online. Those will get forwarded to me, and then I could put them on our list for like a camp cleanup. Another thing is officers, like I said, will just go out in the night shift. I know Abernathy Creek there at Washington Street has been a problem under there. We get people that go camp under there, and that's been a problem during their daily nighttime routine. If they're not taking calls for service and they have time, they can go down there and post that, bring it to my attention, and then I'll compile a list. So that's kind of what we're doing. Last Thursday, Sergeant Turpin and Officer Harlan went out. They hit the Beaver Creek and Highway 213 area, the Peninsula Cove down there. We walked the peninsula. I went with them. I don't get out of the office too much, but I did last week, and I walked the whole cove. There was no homeless camps down there because a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, you guys had actually gone down there and did that. So that's kind of that. I'm willing to answer questions.
So was there a camp at the Cove?
There was one that had been come since the last 2 weeks, and they were right along the fence that's right around the River Resource Museum, and we
Oh, yeah.
posted that. Oh, sorry. It says don't touch. I was not going to touch it. I follow orders really well. Yeah, so there was one camp there, and it was right by the River Resource Museum property. We posted that, planning on cleaning that up this week. But that was it for out there. A few weeks before that, I think there was like, oh man, there's probably 10 camps out there. And they're on the peninsula that runs clear on the backside of the cove and the peninsula part that's right there by the River Resource Museum. They're on both of them, you know. So we clean them up and they just come back.
And they come back. That's
Yeah,
a problem.
when were you there? Last week, you said?
Thursday we went out there and they were all cleaned up. They were all gone except for the one camp. And we posted that.
It was Friday. Well, maybe that was the guy. Friday, I was at the gym looking out, of course. There's some guy standing out there naked washing himself at the pool or at the river. And I got to remember to call the city on that. So that was Friday. So
you were at 24-Hour Fitness, observing it from across the river. Yeah, we do get complaints from people that live in Gladstone that call because of, there may be a fire on the peninsula. A lady from Westling called recently because there was under the viaduct on 99. She could see somebody down there, which brings me to the point that we Metro, we talked to them quite a bit. About 2 months ago, we met with a guy named Monty who works for Metro. They have park rangers that come to the Newell Creek Canyon park up there. Have you ever been up there? You guys know what I'm talking about, off of Warner Milne there by Walgreens. And while we were on a walk up there, we observed a camp that was on cemetery property, the city's property. So Sergeant Turpin then went out and posted that camp. That one's been cleaned up. They patrol that camp. The rangers, I think, come out twice a day. They patrol that park, I should say, very well. And then they bring those to my attention. There's some other properties up on 213 and Beaver Creek, the Newell Creek that I'm concerned about for the summer's fire season. A lot of people, that's on their radar. So we're making a concerted effort to make sure we stay on top of that. There'll be a big cleanup coming in the next month of some properties that are up there as well, because there's quite a bit of garbage and I'm just concerned about the fire danger from it.
There's a homeless camp in Kenema on between the mill. It's underneath the power lines. That property, I contacted the railroad.
Yeah.
And they were a little difficult to get in contact, but I managed. They don't own that property. So they told me, which I was pretty sure, that the Grand Ron owns that property. So I don't know. I'm concerned because I'm a homeowner there.
Yeah.
They did call in, the homeless people did call in, I think, a 911 call on the kayaker.
Yes,
That went
they did.
over, just too much action in Kenema here. But, so I'm really concerned because we get dry and have little fires, and that's just a wall that will come up here. And when we have those awful gusty fires, they just come up through the tunnel.
Yeah,
I'm very concerned, yeah.
Specifically regarding that complaint, Linda, we're aware of it. I went down there, myself and Officer Haynes, probably a month ago, and I'd reached out to Loved One, a guy named Dustin Bagby. He's part of there, and he was going to go out there. When me and Officer Haynes went out there was like probably 8 tents. No, there was nobody there. I don't know if that's just because they were out for the day, but there was nobody there. It is kind of on like the railroad / the Confederated, the tribe property as well, because when I mapped it, so it's kind of this weird barrier. When I talked to the security lady down there, she's like, oh, my barrier stops right here at this fence. It's right at the end of the mill. And so we were trying to figure out, well, is it railroad? Is it the tribes? And it's kind of a mixture of them. The railroad, we have a pretty good relationship with them. The problem is their law enforcement. They have like 2 guys for the entire West Coast that work out of this area, and their budget's pretty low. And so they were going to come out and do a cleanup, and they told us that they didn't have the budget for it. Because there's also some railroad property down off of Clackamas River Drive. Down there by, what's that, Boardwalk Street?
and Jaeger.
Yeah, Brockamp and Jaeger down there, so.
Would there be a blight ordinance or something that would kind of enforce them to clean
Oh, yeah,
it up?
we'll work through it, like, I'll follow back up with the tribe, get them to, take ownership of that part, and I don't think there's any hesitation to like fix it if it's identified as their problem. It's just like, oh, it's on the borderline, and whose is it? And then
Because they just burnt down the mill, or what was there. You think they'd want to get rid of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a big concern that I have. Kanima, yeah.
yeah.
How can we get you more officers? How can we help get you more officers? I know you're short of officers and you need more. How can we help?
Well, that's a great question. Of course, we always want more officers, because our police department hasn't grown for quite some time. We've been short with this homeless liaison. We're actually getting really close to becoming fully staffed. Some reprieve, because the last couple of years have been really difficult with trying to fill those positions. You may not be aware, but it takes like a good year, at least a year, to get somebody hired through the background to the academy and out on the street, essentially as a police officer that affects the schedule, right? So all the police officers, they're working hard out there, and essentially they're picking up the slack in that year time that it takes to get somebody on the schedule. So that makes it difficult when you're hiring, and then like say sometimes they don't make training. So then that's going to put you behind the curve even more. We want the best, well-trained officers out on the street. It's a high liability job. The public demands it, and we need to provide that service to citizens, right? You have some very drastic decisions that you can make as a police officer. You're taking away people's civil liberties. There's use of force stuff. So you want the best, well-trained officers out on the street. So we don't just settle for anybody. Mm-hmm. It's a very hard process to get in, and we want the best, so.
Denise? They,
Oh, hello. So when you pick up all the trash from the camps that are left over, who pays that bill?
It's general fund money. I think this year's budget, we were at $49,000 that we had allotted for it. I brought those numbers. So far, we spent $29,000. And we have about $19,000 left, but it's not cheap to clean it up.
No, it's not.
And it's quite the problem. It looks.
I'll add really quick, just because I've been at some of the cleanups, so everybody gets an idea. So they're cleaning up the trash, and as they're cleaning up the trash, I found in one camp over like 300 uncapped needles. So it slows the process down. They don't want to get stuck. I don't blame them. So they're very cautious of what they do, but that's just another aspect of this whole thing that they can't just go in and scoop it up, and
Right.
you got to be careful because they want to dispose of those appropriately too. So.
And I think the key is like if say some people go down in the canyon, they see that it's full of trash. I think it just says, hey, we can come camp here and take up residence. I think if I had a perfect world, it'd be like, we kept it clean, and then we had a homeless liaison officer go out there, check those on a routine, and try to stay on top of that. That'd be ideal to me. That way you could do it. Like right now, I'm trying to piecemeal it as the captain, and then have these guys, he's working a patrol shift, have him and other officers go out there as a collateral duty to try to stay on top of it. Because if we don't do anything, it's going to get really messy. So that's not really an option.
Denise?
Who is it that does the actual cleanup?
It's CNR Reforestation. It's a good gentleman named Robin. He has a company. So we have to, if anytime you're over, I think it's $10,000, the city has to go out for a bid, and he's the one that provided the bid that was reasonable.
Sarah?
My question is, does signage help? Like in a place where you know they keep coming back?
So we did put no trespassing signs, City of Oregon City property down there on that 213 place. We've done it on the Cove as well. They get spray painted over. I think if they're going to do it and they're going to trespass, the sign is, it made
I'm
it.
talking about more specifically, homeless encampments not allowed, something like
They said
that.
they have signs that say no trespassing allowed at any time.
Sarah, your
And then-
mic.
Thank you.
And then they've used those, they've taken the wood posts out of the ground and used them for their main
Oh,
beams in their tents.
Yes, yeah.
All right,
Seen
it's
it.
worth a shot.
But we're trying.
And it's a delicate situation because you're dealing with people that they have severe mental health issues. You know, like people on a sidewalk, everybody has a right to be on the sidewalk. It becomes a problem when they start blocking it and then other people can't use the sidewalk. That's where we get into this place where if they're on public property, we have to give them like 72 hours notice. If they're on somebody's private property, then they're trespassing, they can be arrested immediately and they have no permission to stay there. So there are some properties on, up there on that Beaver Creek, 213 area that we deal with the property owners. We have 114 trespass agreements. So our police department has a form where private, property owners can sign this form and it gives our officers permission to enforce that. It's like a 2-year form. So if we see somebody on that property, then we can enforce, we can act as the agent for that property essentially. And we have 114 of them. So that's part of the outreach thing. We're like, hey, if you're having a problem, call us, or we can go there and walk these properties and do that kind of stuff. But, the officers are trying to respond to domestic violence calls, theft calls, all these priority stuff. And it's like, where does it go? So, but.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, really, because you guys do it with such compassion. I've seen you out talking to these folks, and I'm just really impressed with what I've seen, and you really do. You're not heavy-handed at all in it, and I'm really impressed with that. And I think the citizens of Oregon City want to be compassionate. They want to make sure that we find help for these folks, and it's difficult, I know, and. We've got I know there's programs in place and there's more coming, so that's a good thing. But I really do appreciate the extra effort that you guys make on the street. It's not easy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The officers are out there on the street. They do a great job day in and day out. And like I said earlier, we expect the best from them and the best response for the public. And I think generally police officers get into the business because they want to help people. That's a standard question when people apply for the job. And, we get that the drug use, the addiction, the substance abuse is it's hard on people, right? It takes a toll on them, various life circumstances that lead them to that. And so part of our process too is when we go out there, Sergeant Turpin will offer resources, put them in touch. He'll call Brandy or Stephanie from Father's Heart to be like, hey, we got this person. The resources are there for the people. Can't speak like on if the housing situation's totally squared away, but there are definitely resources that if somebody is in our city, they're needing a resource, they can reach out and we can point them in the right direction at least, for sure.
So speaking of resources, would it be helpful if we had resources 24/7 instead of Monday through Friday, 9 to 5?
Give me like an example, like mental health type stuff.
Any of that, addiction, if you were to come across somebody on Saturday, what do you do with them?
Yeah, I think the best
You
answer
talk to them and tell them, go here on Monday? I mean, a lot of these services are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Yes, that's a valid point. If they're like in the throes of a behavioral health crisis, we can call out Val, our behavioral specialist. She's available. Her and Chelsea that works with Val, they're on call. So we do have that availability to do that. Addiction services, if somebody really wants the help and they bring it to our attention, we can reach out to, those services the next day or send Val an email. we can do all that stuff on the back end as well. But, and I also have some concern with the new homeless resource center coming in. The Father's Heart, when it came in, it did increase our call load quite a bit. It changed the city. Like I said, he's been working here longer than I have, 21 plus years. I think Jared just hit, what, 25?
26 and a half.
So we've seen the city, we've been with it through its change, and it's increased it. And so with the new resource center coming in there, I'm concerned that that's gonna increase our call load as well.
I've been here 45 years,
Oh, you've
almost
seen
50.
more.
So I've seen a lot of changes in the homeless population. And I go with the theory, if you build it, it will come. And people tell me they're already here. But I saw the huge increase when my Father's Heart came in.
Yeah, no,
For the homeless.
I think that's, from the road and the boots on the street perspective, that's true, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. They give them bags of food or things, and then throughout the weekend, we see the remainders of these bags, whatever they didn't want to eat or use, they just throw it, trash it. It's just,
Yeah, and I know I can, not to defend Father's Heart necessarily, but they do, there are people that have the addiction problems. There are people that really need the help, right? And they do provide that service of compassion, like we're saying. But with that is going to come this increase. And then you're going to have people that aren't good neighbors, right?
Right.
And I know, like, if I call Father's Heart, they're responsive to our needs. Like, if we have a problem with somebody that's not being a good neighbor, that's littering on the street or causing a problem at the transit center, I could call them and they're really responsive to it. I mean, I think they understand that impact as well.
If they're in the office to answer your call.
Yes, true. Yeah. So.
any other questions?
I've got one.
Okay.
How many people are from out of state that are coming here homeless?
I can't give you like an exact out-of-state number, but we do encounter people like, well, came from San Diego up to the area. You do get people that are from outside cities. That's a given, right? I mean, there's a resource here. We've had homeless people that talk about the streets of Portland are too dangerous, so they've come this way, literally. We've had these testimonies from people just to try to spread away and get out from that situation. So it does bring people in from outside cities. That's not a surprise.
It's like the old, what was it? They used to ride the rails in the 50s. What were they called? Hobos.
Oh, like rail runners, yeah.
Yes,
Like
yes.
on the
They'll spread the
railroad.
word amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Well, now you can get a bus ticket from a lot of these inundated cities like San Francisco. Vegas does it. New York's done it. There's rumors that Portland's done it, but I've yet to hear proof of that.
Yeah.
But they're sending people, Trailways bus at a time, 45 folks rolling in. I've seen it downtown in Portland. And, it's a ongoing problem.
Yeah, and it has an impact on our officers, on our citizens first and
Yeah.
foremost, and then our officers as well, right? Because they're dealing with it. I can give you a situation of an officer, sergeant on his very last day of retirement, got in a tussle with a guy outside of Father's Heart that it wasn't a good one. The guy had blood all over him, and on your last day, it's not really the call you want to have, right?
Right.
With a biohazard and things like that. It is just these are the things that the officers are out there dealing with, the mental health calls that come from it. And these are, like I said, high liability situations where you're dealing with somebody in a mental health crisis. You got to be on your A game at all times.
All times.
You got to be making the right decisions. A lot of times there's not a crime associated with it. Having mental health issues is not a crime, right? But they're out in our community, and then when they pose a challenge and citizenry calls us, then we have to come up with a solution on how to solve that problem. And they can be dangerous and scary at times, right? And so that's why we need well-trained officers, for sure.
So is there anything as a citizen of Oregon City that we could do to help
In what regards?
in regards with cleaning camps, picking up garbage, or
Yeah, I don't know if I
taking
would.
cookies to the officers?
I would love the offer, but like he said, with all the needles and stuff and the, human waste and all, I don't know if I
It's
want to
not safe.
expose anybody to that hasn't been, trained in that. And
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Goodwill Initiative, but,
Yes.
Yes, my neighbor had an overnight guest, but she hadn't asked, and they left needles, beautiful handmade baby blankets that someone had given somewhere clean, they'd picked up, but there were needles, a jar of mayonnaise, and just crazy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thanks you guys for being here.
We do thank you. We just want to work together with you to solve this problem. We want it all to go away.
No, that's good. Like, if you have any complaints, you can do the MyOC online reporting thing. You could get a hold of me personally via email. And then we'll add them to the list. And like I said, it's like, you want to stay on top of it so it doesn't get too out of control.
Okay.
But it's a lot of times it's just like, yep, you gotta keep mitigating. Otherwise it'll just explode is my opinion on it. So.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Public comments, I have Jack Watkins. If you could state your name and where you're from.
Yeah, my name's Jack Watkins. I live in the Kanema neighborhood. I'm one of Linda's neighbors, along with everybody else in Kanema. So my biggest frustration is what was brought up, the homeless encampment right along the railroad tracks between Kanema and the paper mill. So what I'm trying to figure out is, why am I paying $9,000 a year in property taxes, and this is going on right next to our properties? There's no way for the fire department to get down there if a fire breaks out, because it's along the railroad tracks. And you have all this debris and brush and stuff. We're among summertime. So why are they not being pushed out of there now before this becomes a big problem? Because it's gonna happen. They're burning fires there. I'm watching it off my dock. I'm watching what's going on, and nothing's being done about it. Call the police department only to be told the railroad owned it. Then we find out, this is an iffy thing. Hey, the paper mill owns it. Is it owned by Union Pacific Railroad? So what I'm trying to figure out is this actually going to be dealt with, or is this just going to be shoveled under the carpet because you can't really see it, because it's kind of hidden. So, want it to be dealt with, because don't want these people trespassing, and they don't have any business being there. So, it's kind of really all I got to say.
Thank you, John.
Well,
Cool.
can I make one suggestion? Maybe you should bring it to the city commission. They take public comment there, and you can talk to them about it. It's like on Wednesday, first and third Wednesday, I want to say at 7.
Okay.
So they always have public comment, so you should bring that to their attention,
Great.
because they may not know. And they're the ones that have the power to do anything.
That's fair.
We have no power.
We can listen, but we don't have.
We don't have the power.
Fair enough. Well,
Okay. Donna Larson.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi, I am Donna Renee Larson. I am the chair of the Caulfield Neighborhood Association, but I'm not here in that capacity tonight. I'm just here as me, Donna, the citizen of Oregon City, because I have not had a chance to take this to my executive steering committee, or the steering committee, or the executive team, or my general membership. I do plan on doing that. Why I'm here, this seems to be the homelessness night. I did not read your agenda. I did not know what was going to be talked about. But I was here at the CIC meeting when the Caring Place first came and presented. And the hole that I saw was twofold. One, job placement, although I realize there is some preparatory things going on with the Oregon workforce. But job placement, and then the housing. That loop, that gap has not been closed. That was really on my heart. So what I'm seeking is any individual members of our community that would like to gather with me and form a committee, whatever we are going to be. The Caring Place said that they would support us in any way that they can, giving us data, giving us resources. Say we identify a segment of the population, of the homeless population, that are veterans. Well, maybe there's a grant or something from the VA that we can tap into. Those types of resources that me as a citizen, I'm not going to know of. We're not a part of the caring place, but I want to see what we can do to close this gap. I want to see what we can do to help them get housed. I also want to see what we can do to get them reconciled with their families so they can go home. I know it's big. It's huge. It's like David and Goliath is what I feel like sitting here. But you know what? It's not impossible. And if we gather together, we all have gifts and talents and resources on the inside of us. If we link arms and we don't break rank, we can come up with a solution to at least help. I know that others have gone before us and it hasn't happened yet, but who's to say that we weren't chosen for such a time as this to bring forth something? So that's my ask. Would any of you yourselves be interested in just coming alongside with me to brainstorm, see what we can do? I have ideas. They're out there. But if we don't start making suggestions, then nothing's going to happen. What do we have to lose, by just talking? And then if you yourselves don't have the time because you're busy, would you allow me to come in to speak to your members and kind of talk about this? Because I'm very passionate about it, because I have both sides in me. I mean, I live in Caulfield, near the Tyrone S. Woods Park. I am tired of picking up garbage that has been left there. I'm tired of trying to lift up grocery carts into my SUV and take them back to the stores. I mean, I just get so angry. But the other side is my brother died in January of 2018. He was homeless or in jail more than he was anything else. He was a heroin addict. I remember one time the Lord asked me if I would give him a year of my life. I said yes. So I went to jail every Monday night. And, when the guy was clean, it was amazing. So I see the other side. My family and I have lived it. Unfortunately, my brother passed away because the drug got him before he could, get healed. So would anybody, you don't have to answer me tonight, but just, you know how to reach me. If you can't find my information, Hannah, I know, will point you in the right direction. And I just want to see, we're smart people, and if it's working together. And then we got the police department to work with, the caring place to work with. This is probably silly, but Terry Gant, anybody recognize that name?
Yes.
Terry Gant started the Father's Heart. And so I knew her way back when. I remember she used to be on Old 82nd in Clackamas. And the first night that she wanted to open up her shelter as a warming place, she called me. She said, Donna, I want to do this, but I don't want to be here alone. Would you come down here and stay with me? Yeah, I did. So it's in my heart to help, but it's in my help, get out of here, on both sides. So anyway, I hope to hear from you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we all have someone that we know. Mm-hmm. We all do. Okay, we have a CIC Land Use Committee. So did someone have something more to say about that, or bring it up, or where are we going to go with that? I think, Tim, you had said something last meeting about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my feeling is if we have a land use application that doesn't meet any of our individual neighborhood requirements, it needs to be addressed.
And they come here.
Well, they kind of come here. Last time we had a meeting, they showed up, right? But we had nothing really to talk. They were just kind of looking for opinions, right? I don't know if that ever became a land use application or not. But if it did, it never came back to us. So, when we do land use in McLaughlin, we have a land use person and a group of people that talk it all through. And then they present it to the body, and we discuss it and decide on how we want to respond to the city. So I don't know how many of those we're going to get, land use applications here, but if we do, I don't think it's because the applicant has to present to the neighborhoods or whoever, CIC. I don't think it's reasonable to, have them, force them to do it and then us not be able to respond with at least some thought put behind it, right?
We have 2 members of the CIC who are on the planning commission now. And when we have that, they kind of step back, or they let their people know that they're on, have had this talk. When people come to neighborhoods, we don't really have any say about what they're going to do, one way or the other. I have a very bad taste in my mouth about planning land use. We had a horrible land use chair in our neighborhood. There was never any meetings of anything's ever done. Whatever that person wanted to do, he did. That person called a special meeting one night. He talked for at least 2 hours. I may have exaggerated a minute or two, but we took a vote. The vote was 10-3. He contacted me the next day to say he had spoken with other people who were more informed than those of us who spent the 2 hours listening to him, and he was going to do what he wanted to anyway. So I have absolutely no, you're going to have to tell me something. And I don't want the CIC to become a land use. That's all we do is land use. I don't want that to be. We have other things we work on and do, and I don't know. We do have in our CIC rules of what special committees would be, but that's going to take up an awful lot of our time. And I think we've had very few. And when the land use comes to neighborhoods, there's not a lot we can do anyway. They check and they do.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm only speaking on McLaughlin, but we change things. You know, when we get land use decisions and we respond to them, we respond and there is action taken on our response. And I'm on the Historic Review Board, and so I see these coming back. I step away because I can't respond, but I see what my neighborhood comes up with, and they come up with some excellent opinions. So Kenema may be different, you know. And
every neighborhood is different, yeah.
And you know what, this might not even be a requirement. It might not be that important because we haven't seen that many. My point was, if we get a land use, we need to have a plan, I think. And whether we have a committee that handles that, or whether we have a work session that handles that, or whatever, I think out of fairness to the applicant, I think we need to be able to discuss it and give an opinion.
Well, they do present their information. We give our opinions. I don't know what else I've just never seen it positive. Jared, do you have a question, or where to go with this?
This is actually, thank you, Commission. After the last meeting, this is something that I understand was an issue, so I discussed it with leadership. There's a few issues here, one of which being that under the bylaws, the CIC is only empowered to serve as that answering body in the event of that neighborhood not having an active association. So there really is no mechanism for the CIC to do anything other than, like any other body may provide statement to the commission should they want, but there is no mechanism for that to happen unless it is an inactive association. In terms of a committee, there's a few issues there. As you mentioned, a number of the members are actually on some of our land use bodies. So there's some issues there in terms of, that causes some problems. I brought that question up to legal counsel, and there was definitely concern with that, making sure that nobody on that land use subcommittee, if there was one, would also be somebody that's on planning and zoning or planning commission or the HRB, for example. The other issue is honestly staff time. If we tried to set up, a regular subcommittee, we don't really have staff capacity anymore to help that. Now, should the CIC want to do basically an informal work group that is comprised of members that are fewer than quorum, that is something that CIC members can do. But once you get to the point of a committee, now you're going to have to do public meetings, posted meetings, minutes, all that fun stuff that really there's just not staff capacity to do anymore at this point. That said, should there be an instance where, there's a neighborhood that doesn't have an association and there is something coming forward, what we can do is schedule a special meeting of the CIC to ensure that you are able to hear that and serve in that capacity. So we do have ways to make sure that nothing is going to fall through the cracks without having to add more meetings and so forth unless necessary.
Sure, and I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, that's really all we want. We don't have that many. But if we do, it's, I mean, you know, we've got three or four neighborhoods now that are inactive.
3, I think.
Three.
Three, but
Yeah.
One's coming on.
One's coming.
And we're working hard. Let's put our energies towards getting these neighborhoods.
Yeah, I'd love to have
Let's do
everybody
that.
active, you know, and it's
Yeah,
great,
that's
we
what
don't have to
we're
worry
working
about it at that point.
Yeah,
But
fewer meetings for you then.
yeah, exactly.
And the other thing that I want to mention too is there was any developer who wants to put in a land use application within a neighborhood association that is inactive, a part of applying for that land use application, they have to do some form of community outreach. Typically, the developers go specifically to the neighborhood association to present. When that neighborhood is inactive, that's part of the CIC's role, is to be able to adhere to that presentation, hear from that developer. That way they can check off their list. Okay, we did community outreach to the Citizen Involvement Committee. That developer who presented on the White Lane project that did turn into a land use application that was submitted. I do my best on my end to work with the email subscriber list that we have for those inactive neighborhood associations to make sure that those residents are aware that, hey, there's this land use application that has been submitted. You can provide your public comment up until this date. But aside from that, like we've talked about before, that's the extent that I do on my end to be able to do that outreach to the inactive neighborhood associations.
Right. Well, I mean, state goal 1 is customer involvement, right? So, you know, we need to be able to offer that. And this is a great way to do it. I don't have a problem with just being able to have that discussion. We don't have to have a specific land use committee. I don't think that's even necessary because we don't get that many things. But I do think we need to be able to offer that.
Adam?
Thank you. Just to the example that Hannah just gave, and the red light is on, so. To go off of the example that Hannah just gave about the White Lane development that appeared before the Citizen Involvement Committee, that I know that there are probably feelings that it's just a check on the checklist. You get to hear people complain a little bit and do whatever you want. I will say that that's pretty much how it operates at the city commission level too. We have very little authority to tell them what we would like to see changed, even at the city commission level. So I do hear the concerns, but I'm not sure that the increase.
It's not coming through for whatever reason.
Okay. So I'm not sure that having that extra venue is going to give any more opportunity to create those changes that community members might want to see if it's something that we can't even do as city commissioners.
Is there any more discussion on this? Okay.
My question to the Citizen Involvement Committee is, this is something that was brought to my attention at the last meeting, in which it would be brought up as a discussion item. What's your decision moving forward? I guess that way I have direction as a staff member.
I say leave it as is.
I do too.
We've taken no action, so that's
We've taken no action, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Approval of minutes for April 7th. Have we all had time to read the meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval's passed. Staff updates, May staff report.
So, there were some extra materials that I provided on everybody's desk. I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
There's a handful of things that I wasn't able to provide within the, we're gonna do this instead, agenda packet, but I did want to make sure that all of the CIC members were aware of. Has anybody ever heard of the Nature and Neighborhoods Community Choice Grants provided by Metro?
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to make sure that all of the Citizen Involvement Committee members were aware so that they communicate this information out to their neighborhood associations, that As of right now, there's idea generating workshops or idea generating ideas that our Metro is asking specifically from the communities within Oregon City. I think Johnson, there's a whole demographic of Milwaukee, Oregon City, variety of other communities surrounding us within Clackamas County, where residents can submit ideas to be able to improve parks. There's certain criteria in which you're supposed to be able to increase racial equity, build climate resiliency, and overall just being able to engage residents with park access. I just wanted to make sure. The CIC hasn't received a presentation on it. I by no means am any expert, but I wanted to make sure that you had all of the materials necessary in case if you had any particular ideas that you wanted to see within our community in Oregon City. You can go onto the webpage, submit your idea. There's going to be idea generating workshops in Gladstone, Milwaukee, and Oregon City. The one in Oregon City is going to be held on June 7th. Just wanted to make sure that you were provided all of that information. And for people who are interested, there are also resources within the back.
Do you know if that's just for metro parks or is that for all community parks?
I think all parks.
All parks. I know that Tom Kissinger and Metro presented to the city commission back in maybe February about this project, or March, as the city being involved moving forward within it. So if you want to look back into the depths of those meeting recordings, that would be a suggestion that I have. And there's a lot of resources on the city's website too. If the Citizen Involvement Committee would like a presentation, I can work on the chair with making sure that that gets done. But I just wanted to make sure that you are all aware of the idea generating workshop that's happening on the 7th. Clackamas Fire District came out with their newsletter, so I emailed that out to individuals, I think today or yesterday. That's available for you. It's their newsletter that they provide updates on every quarter. The Oregon City Ivy League is doing an Ivy poll on May 17th. Oregon City Parks Foundation is going to be donating some mature plantings that we're also going to be planting within Waterboard Park as well. If you want more information or want to RSVP, please reach out to me. Youth Advisory Commission, we are officially in our recruitment process starting today. I will have 3 seniors who are leaving this year, so we're hoping to find replacements for those 3 Youth Advisory Commissioners who are graduating and moving on. If you know any youth who might be interested, the only major qualifications that you need to make sure that they're adhering to is that they're 9th through 12th grade for the 2025-2026 school year, and they can need to live in the city of Oregon City limits or attend a school within the Oregon City School District. Aside from that, my regular updates, let's just scroll. E-Trail News was sent out last week. It provided the regular updates of all the neighborhood association meetings, but also included Gaffney Lane's emergency preparedness workshop and also Kenema's historic.
Same time as the Ivy Pool.
Oh.
How exciting.
The Kenema cemetery cleanup, that was also advertised within this E-Trail News. Trail News, the summer edition, it's been going through minor edits, should be finalized today and heading out into residential mailbox the week of May 12th. So keep your eye out, residents, for the summer edition of Trail News. We discussed the neighborhood association QR codes last meeting. If you want those resources, I always have them on file. Just reach out to me. I know sometimes a variety of the neighborhood associations are like, hey, can you help attach the QR code onto our postcards? I have no problem, no issues being able to assist you in that. Everything else is pretty much as is. I just, again, wanted to make sure that you had those resources that I was not able to provide in the staff report. And I'll be sure to follow up with an email with all of those attachments as well. Any questions?
On to CIC budget.
Any questions on this? We have a public comment.
Oh, okay, sorry. A public comment from, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name, please.
Ingrid.
Ingrid.
Oh,
Okay.
Ingrid.
Okay.
Now you put a face to me.
I do. It registers now. Yes, yes.
And
sorry.
Your name and city of residence.
Okay, Ingrid, I live here in Oregon City.
Okay.
You're just gonna wanna sit down, because these meetings are recorded, and so it's easier for people to be able to hear you when you're speaking into the microphone.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the reason I'm here tonight, actually this is my first meeting. So my husband and I just opened an adult day center in Wilsonville, and we specialize in respite care. And we just are trying to get the word out to the community that we have a respite center for those family caregivers who are looking for a break. Whether your loved one has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, we're there to help. So we're just trying to get the word out. So I thought this would be a great place to do that.
Do you have an email or a phone number that we can contact with this
Yes, I
information?
actually have some brochures in my purse, and it has the website on there, so I can just
You
leave
might want to
those.
say it just because the public will watch these
is true.
meetings.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh, this is, the website, of course, it's www.joyfulrespite.org. All together, no space. Yeah.
And if you want to provide me contact information that you feel comfortable with sharing with the Citizen Involvement Committee, I would be happy to pass that along as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
This is very informative, especially the homeless.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
It's in Wilsonville. We operate out of St. Francis of Assisi's Episcopal Church. Yeah,
Okay, great, thank you.
so it's not too far. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wants to say something and hasn't filled out a card? CIC budget?
Any questions? I think that there might be some more questions after Chris Nolte makes his request on behalf of Hazel Grove and Westling Farm. I don't know if we want to address the CIC budget now or wait until after Chris has made his official request.
Chris, why don't you come up and make an official request?
Hi there. I'm Chris Nolte. I live in the Hazel Grove-Westling Farm Neighborhood Association, which as of April 8th is reactivated.
Yay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a wonderful opportunity. We had, for our first meeting, we had 55 plus people come, and I was expecting 12 or 20. But we were really, really surprised and blessed. It was really great. So we had a core group of people that really worked hard, and I also want to be able to acknowledge that I couldn't have done this without Kay Nelson and her help with the room, and also with this gal over here. Hannah has been an absolute wonderful partner in addressing this and guiding me through this. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. So, doing that. But just to give you where we're at, okay? We have updated our neighborhood association website, and we have established an email that is there just for that communication purpose. We have submitted information for the last two trail news, and we have that. We sent out, and thank you, one postcard for announcing our April 8th meeting. We were introduced to Officer Luke Guthridge, our police liaison. What a guy. Really great to be able to have his partnership as well. Hannah came and spoke at the meeting and answered an awful lot of questions about what a neighborhood association is and her excitement and enthusiasm for being a part of all of this in Oregon City. We created a survey, which a whole 17 people have actually answered. Wow, you know. But nevertheless, it's you start small and you just grow from there. So I'm not impressed by numbers, but I am also not daunted by small numbers. Okay. Our first activity that we are planning is going to be on August 5th, which is National Night Out. And we've given ourselves a little bit of time to be able to prepare for that. But that is our first activity as a neighborhood association that we're hoping to, get people together. And building community is exactly what I'm hoping is going to be our stuff. That's going to be our theme. It's going to be our work. And we want to be able to get to meet neighbors. And so therefore, one of the things that we just did was in preparation for the April meeting in February, we actually found a good weekend to be able to get out and walk in our neighborhoods. And we knocked doors on 20% or 200 homes plus of our neighborhood association. And there were many people at the meeting who said, I'm here because you knocked on the door.
Nice.
And so, I just want to bring that up. I'm pretty sure you've heard about that. But heard about that method is what I'm saying. But I want to be able to say that really got to me because I got to meet some really cool people.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun to walk in the neighborhood. And so it was really a great thing. So we are going to plan on doing that again until we get 100%. Now, we're not looking at getting 100% of our people together. That in itself would be astounding. But the idea is that that's not what we're doing. We want to get out to meet people and to be able to let them know that they are members of the neighborhood association. And that's why it's not called soliciting. Because we're not asking them to do anything else than to be themselves.
Right.
So the idea is that it's not solicitation in that kind of way. So we're going to be doing that again. We've established a steering team. And right off the bat, we have 7 people who are going to be doing that work and trying to put together what we are going to do and how we're going to get organized. And in the process, I have, since I've been attending this good group since November, my name has been put forward to be the CIC representative, at least one. We're going to start. I know we can get up to, 2? Mm-hmm. We're starting small.
Great.
Very small. You see, I'm very small. Anyway, so we're going to do that. So I've completed the application. I've handed the minutes of an email because we were supposed to have a meeting, but then I got a cold. And then we sent out an email because Hannah wanted something in writing to be able to say that the neighborhood association is actually wanting me to do this. So we do that, and so it's in the process, and whatever the next part of the process is, Hannah will let me know, and we will go through that, and maybe by next month, we can be able to have a more established relationship with that.
You can officially sit up here.
What's that?
You can officially sit up here.
Well, see, there you go. That's been my life dream. And I am really, really happy to be able to do this on behalf of the neighborhood. So,
Been in the back too long.
yeah. So anyway, do you have any questions or anything like, yeah?
What is your website?
What is the website? Well, the only way that I can be able to tell you, because it's so long, this name is amazingly long to type out, okay? So all I would do is go to the same page as you have, and you can be able to go down to Hazel Grove-Westling Farm, click on it, and you've got it made. And it's the same, it's there, so you can get the website, and you can take our survey. That'd be number 18. And you can be able to, have an email there. I just want to let you know, it's something like Hazel Grove-Westling Farm Neighborhood, or na@gmail.com or something like that. I just can't remember it right now exactly enough for you.
Chris, have you put together a Facebook page yet?
Yes. Yeah. I forgot to add that.
Yeah, please do. Maybe we'll give you another copy. Make sure you got the information, because we'd love to have you folks come and join with us in this emergency preparedness event coming up.
And thank you, yes. It was a dormant page, and our person contacted another person that was in the process of all of that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
To be able to get that going. So, and so we have the Facebook is established as well.
Excellent.
So, any other questions or anything like that? Yeah.
To get that many members to show up to your first meeting is a fantastic job you've done. I mean, it's great. That's really good.
I was very affirmed by that, and we were all smiles about starting it. We hope. Again, I'm not impressed with numbers. I'm not daunted by them, but the idea is that we hope that we continue to grow in that kind of a thing. So.
And when is your next meeting going to be? Do you need money for postcards?
That brings me to my request. June 10th is our next meeting. So it's on the other side of the budgeting process, but
It is not.
What's that?
June 10th, the end of the fiscal year is at the end of June.
June 30th.
June 30th.
I thought it was June 1st. So it's within this budgeting year. So anyway, I was going to be able to ask for two things. First of all, is to be able to ask for another postcard mailing because it's the only way to be able to get the word out. And right now, it's the vehicle for doing that. I say it right now because I intend to want to explore something else, and that is to send an annual letter along with a gigantic plea for email addresses to be able to say that. And the annual letter would be having all of the meetings listed, having other kinds of stuff, and it would be one a year instead of $500 6 times a year, or 500 and change. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to work on that to be able to look at what the possibilities are. It's not a simple process, as Hannah has said, because the contracts are all about postcards. But the idea is that we will look at other options and see what we can be able to develop for that. But my request is for one postcard mailing, and also I would like to be able to ask for some money for materials. We had big stick-on-wall posters, for the meeting. We've paid for our own paper for what we handed out at the doors, and we will do again. And it's, a few other little things here and there. I'm not asking for much, maybe $100, but the idea is that that's up to you, and to be able to do that. So that's the request after all of that, and I am very thankful for the first mailing. I'm hoping that you can be able to find in some way, shape, or form funds to be able to do both of those things.
Thanks a lot, Chris. I really hated that we had to take that one other mailing from you to fill in for somebody else, but it's just how the budget cycle thing worked at the point in time. But it does look like we have some monies left over. So I'm definitely in favor of you guys being able to do that. As far as the supplies go for your meeting and whatnot, that's not something we supply money for. We supply money for notification, advertisement, essentially. But I think like McLaughlin, like they actually have their own funds, that the neighbors, put into.
I would
and
agree
things
with
like
that, but
So like for Hillendale Tower Vista, we just, if we had something to print or, any sign-ins or anything like that we do, that's, it's just something that we give, out of our own pockets, so.
And we have sometimes fundraisers, when people come to meetings, we will get someone to donate something and we will auction it off. Or we've had a 50-50 pot, or,
Oh, I have no trouble with any of that.
Okay.
I really do not, but let me be a mirror for a moment.
Okay.
The idea is that I'm starting without any experience, and there was a zero in that budget because of that. So let me make a suggestion. The first is that I acknowledge that you would have difficulty in being able to supply all sorts of materials. I wasn't asking for a whole lot, but the idea is that we're not prepared in that kind of way to be able to just take it out of our pockets, right away. So the suggestion that I would have is that in your budgeting process, maybe I'll be a part of that, maybe I won't, I don't know. But to be able to have in the process of all of this, ample funds for the active groups, but then active neighborhood associations, but I would budget maybe about $2,000 just off to the side for, if there's one that's reactivated, you can be able to say, you know what, we saw you coming, and we hope that you're going to be here. And then you wouldn't have to go through the process of going, oh my gosh, where are we going to get these funds from? And it's a one-time deal. So that's just an idea, but the idea is that I just wanted to be a mirror in the idea of saying, it's really difficult to be able to hear from a group that all of a sudden you're saying, I want to be able to restart, and then saying, well, we don't know about where the money's going to come from. That's a hard thing to hear in the process. I understand it, I've experienced it, and I've even said it.
yeah,
Okay.
we hear you.
In other kinds of ways.
So one of the other things with giving money for supplies, this is city money that we use to do the advertising and things like that, and therefore the city controls the narrative of what is being printed, right?
I agree.
So it's not something that the city will give money to the individual neighborhood associations to do their own printing and things like that. Is at least my understanding of that process. So just so you know how that whole thing works. I did want to mention to you, though, that if you, because I'm going to bring it up as a request, but A-frame signs to have printed
Well, that
out
was
and all
another
that.
part of it, was to be able to get some signs too.
That's the different, yeah.
Well, but it's all part of that whole thing. So I actually talked to Buell's today, and I know we could definitely use a couple signs, and if we order 3 signs or more, and it's printing included, it's $200 a sign versus $250. So it would be a
That's even
good
more
cost
than a
savings
postcard.
to lot it all up together. So, but the city can order those and have whatever verbiage on there, and they can approve all that and everything. So,
Thank you for that information, appreciate it.
Donna, was there something you wanted to add to this conversation?
May I?
Yes.
Yep.
Sure.
So, I was the neighborhood that took your money.
are you sure you want to say that close to Brent's?
Wow.
Is it not working?
It might not.
It sounds, hello, testing? Okay. So Hannah, you'll have to be my eyes for me because that's just too small of a font.
Yeah.
To see what we have left. We have one more mailing in this fiscal year. And what is our mailing like? 1270, 12:39-ish.
Before we continue, I have manipulated this budget sheet to kind of look over who has mailings and meetings for the rest of the fiscal year, how could things be allocated. By no means is this the way that the CIC needs to move forward. I've just highlighted, because I knew that Chris was gonna be making this request. So you don't have to feel guilty.
Well, I mean, I'm not, because anyway, it's fine. I was just trying to get things where they should have been.
Yes,
But, I am willing to absolutely give back. We just have one more mailing, so anything that's in there for us over and above, please give it to Chris.
So, just to overview, the Elyville Neighborhood Association has a meeting in May. Carla Laws, the chair of Elyville Neighborhood Association, will be stepping down from Elyville after that, meaning that they potentially are going to be inactive if nobody else steps forward. Per the last meeting and other conversations that I've had, Elyville does not plan to have any more meetings past May. Their next projected meeting would have been in July anyway, so that's next fiscal year. So they have gone through 4 of their postcard mailings. I've reallocated the budget to have their revised number of mailings to 4, bumping Hazel Groves up to 2, along with Kanema has a neighborhood association meeting on June 19th. Caulfield.
We will not be sending out a postcard for that one.
You will not.
That is going to be our ice cream social. And we don't advertise that real well.
So I can,
Not a lot.
$101.40. So that will not be advertised, no mailing needed for that. Caulfield has their meeting later this month. Elyville, they are advertising for their meeting later this month. It just wasn't within this budget sheet based off of when I got invoices. Gaffney Lane is having theirs. Hillendale and Tower Vista, Park Place, South End has their schedule for May 29th. And then this includes Hazel Grove. With all of those expenditures, the CIC will have $1,404.44 left over, including funding Hazel Grove's postcard in June.
Nice.
So I just kind of wanted to lay that out.
Thank you.
So you could ask for signs, get together, and if we've got that much, not leftover money, but we do have money, if you can get together and maybe get a better deal with the signs. If he wants 3, and if you've got more, there'll be less, get them approved. And the signs, get the A-frames, the whiteboards, so you can reuse the signs ever and ever. It will just have your name on top of it, and whatever event you want, you can use them, or sometimes we flip ours over and put up a big poster.
My pockets just got a whole lot deeper and calmer about the personal materials that we have donated. And thank you very much for the 12 signs that we will get. Only kidding. For whatever monies that could be donated to, designated to signs. And just let me know, and all of that.
You want to start off and get like 2 signs?
How many did you say?
Said you want to start off and get 2 signs. We're going to ask for 2 signs and then.
2?
Yeah.
I think Two Rivers might also be interested.
Okay.
Is it?
2, 4, 6. Any other signs coming ones?
Okay.
That would be great.
Well, here, I'll just go ahead and do this unless somebody else needs to say something, but I make the motion to give, as prescribed in Hannah's report here, go ahead and give Hazel Grove their second meeting back that somebody stole from them. And also allocate for a total of 6 A-frame signs from Buell's, 2 for Hazel Grove, 2 for Two Rivers, and 2 for us in Hillendale Tower Vista.
Before,
Do we hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
discussion, please. My question is, the A-frames, it seems very expensive. I mean, our signs were like $20. I mean, with the post sticks. Our A-frames, why are you looking at that cost, that high of a cost for A-frames?
It's, if you look in history, that's been standard, what people have been utilizing.
I guess you mean the type of sign rather? I'm just curious about the type of sign as opposed to a sign you stick like a political sign instead of, I mean, we have like.
With the wire?
Yeah.
A-frames are different than the stick posts. So the A-frames, you can usually have both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, that
Yeah,
seems
well,
about
That's,
a reasonable cost. for
Again, that's a
A-frames.
printed cost, so that's not just for the A-frame itself. That $200 per sign is printed.
Right.
So
no,
whatever you want printed, both sides and all that, that's all completely done
Right,
for that.
I'm just saying, for $200,
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably get 20 signs or 15 signs of the corrugated, you know, and that's just a lot cheaper, and you could spread it around a lot farther, I think, for the amount of money that we're talking about. But it's just my thought. I mean, I think we have 12 signs, and I think they cost us, I don't know, they weren't over $20 a piece, and so, just a thought.
What size was your signs?
Standard 2 by 3 or 2 by, yeah, whatever they are. Yeah, they're just like the political signs.
Yeah, these are 2 foot by 3 foot is the signboard itself.
But the beef of that cost is the actual A-frame plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's plastic.
wood?
It's plastic. Yep, so we have, just for background, we had previously tried to get some A-frame signs from Rivercrest. They said they had a whole bunch just sitting around doing nothing. We had reached out multiple times and they apparently didn't have them. They thought they didn't have them. So we've been mulling it over for quite a while. And like I said, if you go and you look through just the last couple of years, you'll see where we've been purchasing A-frames or redoing the slots for A-frames and stuff. The other thing for me is those hold up to to the elements and to everything else versus the little wobbly signs. And truthfully, I don't want 15 of those things in my garage. So a couple A-frames is pretty easy to take care of. So anyway, that was my motion. So.
Nice second.
For the A-frames? Okay, all in favor of A-frames?
For clarity, who is requesting?
2,
It's
4,
2, 4, 6. So Hillendale, Tower Vista, split.
So could you repeat your
Sure. So the motion is to, as Hannah's schedule here on the screen, to take these monies, or take the leftover monies from these other associations that aren't going to use them and move them into Hazel Grove so they can have their second meeting. And in addition, also do the 6 A-frame signs, 2 for Two Rivers, 2 for Hazel Grove, and 2 for Hillendale Tower Vista split.
And that cost would be for the signs?
$600.
Does that include not just the A-frames, but also the corrugated plastic on
Printed.
each? Okay.
Yep, printed.
The thing that I will emphasize in the creation of your signs, I would really, if you're trying to stretch your money and get your best bang for your best buck and not have to reprint signs, think of a generic phrase that you can have. I know Gaffney Lane, I forget what theirs says, but it's like Gaffney Lane meeting. I know that Caulfield went and got specifically spaced out where they can rewrite or replace the date and the time of their meetings. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
Every second Tuesday, 7:30.
Nice.
Oh, well, whatever.
And I know
Third
some of
Tuesday,
the, it's harder for some of the other neighborhood associations who don't meet as frequently. But just keep that in the back of your mind.
So do we have a second?
Betty second.
Then we need both.
All in favor of the signs?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So the thing I will ask from Chris, Katie, and Hillendale, Tower Vista, whoever, probably Sarah.
It will
our
be
beautiful
Sarah.
designer. The sooner that you can get those designs into me, the quicker I'll be able to have those printed for you.
Do they file specs? We'll talk later.
Yeah, 2 foot by 3 foot.
Two wide, three tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, how they want the file and that sort of thing is what I need.
PDF, I think is mostly is usually what I've submitted for our A-frame signs, and that works just fine for them.
Should go on to roundtable. Katie, our newest, well, almost a member, is there something that you would like to say about your neighborhood? Welcome.
We've been talking about the courthouse is all and what they're gonna do with it. And then the city's deciding whether they're gonna tear down the courthouse or try and restore it. And then there's a proposal from Northwest Development, and they're proposing a mixed land use development to have retail, parking, and housing, as those are the main key points for the Two Rivers to help with the housing crisis and whatnot. So that's all I have.
Dan Caulfield?
Caulfield, well, I think I'm back to normal now. Should be more active. We got a new president, and it looks like she's gonna be very active and very in charge and getting things done and making our group grow, and we'll keep at it and get more people coming in and look at some of the ideas of going around knocking on some doors and saying, hey, this is a meeting. The response he got on his first meeting with that many people is astounding, and it's pretty easy to get a lot of people to go around and knock on doors and say, we're here, what's your opinion? Come to meetings or just watch us online.
Especially if you go to those new apartment complexes, it'd be really easy to get to a lot of people.
Oh, boy, yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Donna?
No, that's.
That's it.
Tim?
Let's see, had our meeting Thursday night. We had the City Public Works come in and talk about the I&I program, infill and infiltration, and how much money we can save the city if we get the project done. It's in millions and millions of dollars. It's pretty amazing if you.
And ourselves.
Yeah, and ourselves, and the neighborhood folks. So, very interesting meeting, well attended. It was good. We have this is our busy summer coming up, so we do our 7th Street cleanup. We'll do that the 17th from 9 to 1. We are repairing and repainting the McLaughlin neighborhood sign at the top of Singer Hill. So we'll be stripping that down and sanding it and repainting it over the 2 days, the 23rd and 24th. And oh my gosh, there's many more things coming up this summer, but let's see, we've got a group of Model A, Model T, and Cadillac car clubs are coming in to do a tour of the McLaughlin neighborhood of the older homes. So we've set up a driving tour and a walking tour, and we'll meet at the Ermitinger and it's going to be a Saturday event, and then we'll go up to South End Road and at one of the old homesteads up there for lunch. So it's going to be a pretty interesting thing. Hopefully it'll be fun driving around the Model Ts and A's in the city. I did find out that to go up 5th Street, they may have to back the Model A's up because they can't go forward, but they can back up the hill. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
Anything, what did you have?
Let's see, we also had a presentation from the Greater Oregon City Watershed Council, or not really a presentation, it was a request for funds because they want to do a restoration of the Abernathy Creek headwaters, and that was Kira Smith. And how about?
No. Okay. Not yet.
something
That's
to
it.
come.
Thank you.
Okay. Sarah?
Josh, you're gonna have to help me, because I can't recall anything that we did but eat dinner at Bugatti's.
Well, that's tomorrow.
Well, I will say that our chair, Dan, is a newborn. He has a newborn, so he's a little bit distracted, I would say. And we're still on a high from our well-attended last meeting, and we'll be working on the next one probably tomorrow night.
Yeah, we did get we have a discussion topic for annexation of a property into our neighborhood, so we're going, yeah, we do. Okay. So that'll be a good discussion tomorrow, and that, we really haven't had anything else going on, so.
Dennis?
Thank you, Hannah, for putting it into the trail news. This Saturday, Kanema, if I have not told anybody, I've told everyone, we have a historic pioneer cemetery in our neighborhood, and it's just a half a mile off of the residence. And once again, every year we prepare it for Memorial Day, set up the flags for the veterans. And this Saturday, the 10th, about 9 o'clock, we have volunteers from our neighborhood, and we've had people from outside the neighborhood who wish to partake, and we're happy and encouraged by that. And so the announcement for Roundtable is that we have this cleanup at the cemetery, and usually it's about an hour and a half. If you have a weed whacker or a shovel or pair of gloves, come out and pull some branches. We're happy with some of the encouragement we've gotten from Metro. We've procured some grants. We've been enabled to find some equipment that will aid us, that they don't just have to come out of your garage. And so we're delighted, actually, as of this week, we put together a chipper, which, has always been a bugaboo. We clean these up and we pile them to the side and we create this big hazard.
Yeah.
And so, fortunately, going forward, we're on the path to rectifying that and managing the debris with this new piece of equipment, and we're delighted. That's what I got to say. So do come out if you have some time on Saturday.
What are the hours?
9 o'clock. Easy for those who've never been to the cemetery and may want to just go for a walk. If you park at the children's park, I'm going to be posting small little signs that would direct you if you're not familiar. And it's an easy walk to the cemetery, and certainly you'll see a lot of people walking towards the cemetery. About 9 o'clock. Thank you.
And if you hadn't heard, we have a homeless camp in Kanema. It just really irritates me. We, as citizens, tax-paying citizens of Kanema, are held to a very, very high standard by this new, their FEMA laws. And yet we have people defecating on the property, tearing down trees, ripping things apart. And if you ever see the view of the falls that everyone uses for advertisements, that's where it's at. It's just not Kanema, it's the whole thing. So, in case you hadn't heard, okay? Dwayne?
Start.
We have a meeting coming up on the third Tuesday, which I believe is the 20th, 6:30, and we're having parks. The Parks Department's going to be there to talk about maybe a new park, maybe, or fixing up the park. I'm not sure, because Gaffney Lane has no parks in their neighborhood, in our neighborhood. So, I think that's about it.
Underserved community.
The underserved community.
Yeah, that's why they're looking to put a park in for us. We have the cleanup coming up, remember that?
Oh, yes, we're gonna do a street cleanup in June, and it will be official with our little name placard going up from the neighborhood.
June 21st?
June 21st,
9 a.m.?
9 o'clock.
Okay, and then we also have this very exciting Gaffney Lane Neighborhood Association Emergency Preparedness Workshop that we've put together with our friends from the Clackamas River Water Providers and the Red Cross, and also Clackamas County Disaster Management is going to come out, and they're going to each do their thing. And folks that arrive are going to be treated to free Starbucks coffee and free Voodoo donuts. So you don't want to miss out on that. And that's less than 2 weeks away, Saturday, May 17th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I would encourage any of our attendees tonight to come up and grab a flyer before you take off. And any of the associations who I've neglected last month to do it, when I put the ask out there, please do stick something on your individual pages. We'd like to invite other neighborhoods to come on in and be a part of the fun. Competing, I hate to say, with the Ivy Pool, but that's all right. I picked my day well in advance. So Saturday, May 17th, come on out. It's just right over here at 695 Warner Parrott in the community room, just adjacent to the police station. So come on out. Thank you.
Commissioners, Wilson, Adam?
Put that there. As I'm sure we're squarely in the middle of budgeting season, so lots of meetings we've been having about that. Since the last CIC, we've had some exciting things. We had the presentation of the awards for If I Were a Mayor, that the kids did. Really good turnout for those, so that was exciting. We have fully formed DMMO at this point. We've filled all the spots, and I believe they had their first meeting.
And what is a DMO?
The DMMO, the
Yeah.
Destination Management and Marketing Organization.
Just for the group
Nope, I
that
appreciate it.
doesn't know.
No, yeah, we get caught in the acronyms and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we had a joint meeting with the county commissioners, just about the courthouse and kind of the plans for that, and allowing us to have a discussion, kind of our thoughts and feelings about what should or should not happen to the property. Anything I missed?
Just the only thing I'd add is that we do have, like Commissioner Wilson said, we are in the middle of budget season right now, and I would encourage any of you who are interested, either in the process itself or in making your opinions heard about budget priorities, to come to our next meeting on Thursday. I want to say 6 p.m.
6 p.m., yes.
Yes, this is one of those weeks when I have a meeting every night. So so this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Libkey Public Safety Building. So we really would encourage you to come out, either to just sit and observe or to give public comment. You can also send in an email, which is also very helpful because I have something to refer back to after that time has passed. So yeah, that's what I have for tonight. Thank you.
You can come join me, it would be fun.
And I'd like to say our next meeting is going to be June 2nd, and two of our speakers are going to be the Parks Master Plan and the Second Home. Parks Master Plan, Kendall left, we have a new Parks Director, is just kind of there. So that's what one of the speakers we have for June 2nd, so I hope you're all there. If there's anything else, this meeting is over. Thank you.
Woohoo.